Hey guys, this is Comic Uno, and today I'm doing the top 10 Kickstarters of the month. And before I get started, I do have a couple of friends who have Kickstarters. I do have a Kickstarter of my own, and also, fair warning, I have a cold, so that's why I sound a little under the weather. But let's start with my comic, Like Father Like Daughter. It's about a high school girl. Father left her to become a full-time superhero. Everyone in the world loves him except for her, and then she inherits his abilities. In this chapter, we get to see that Invulnerable is dead. Her dad has died. Her mom is a supervillain. Where does that bring our superhero? Does she become a hero? How does she take over the mantle? So that is our big story here. Also, I do Kickstarter consulting, so if you want to up your game for Kickstarter, DM me and we could do some consulting. Now, let's jump into those friends Kickstarters. So first, I do actually have Kickstarter I'm consulting for Proctor, issue 1 through 3. This is a book that I really love. I really love the idea of this Buffy adult series we're getting here. It's a very Buffy style. We also get to see this character dealing with alcoholism, all while she does have the weight of the world on her shoulders. So go check that one out. A lot of great artwork there as well. Moving on to another book I'm a part of and consulting for, the Comics Courier. So if you've missed comic journalism, this is definitely the project to pick up. It's actually an old school newspaper as well, with some of the best comic journalists out there, bringing comic book journalism back to the forefront. Moving on to White Ash, issue 1 through 8. White Ash is one of my favorite books on Kickstarter, and I love the fantasy and reality blending. I'm not usually a huge fantasy fan, so when you could ground that in realism, that's always how you could kind of hand deliver fantasy to me, and White Ash does a great job with that, with some splendid artwork and also some other voices joining the team as well. And now, last but not least, is Nightwolf issue 1 through 9. If you're looking for a long fantasy kind of supernatural epic, Nightwolf is for you. I love werewolves. I think they're a really fun genre to explore, so to see that again in a long-running form on Kickstarter is great. And also, I'm doing crossover print with Nightwolf for Like Father Like Daughter, so you get two bangs for your buck there. Moving into the top 10 now. Number 10 is The Fox Came from the Woods Volume 1. I do believe I've had this on our top 10s before because I love the artwork. I love this kind of manga style. You can really feel that horror here. And I think it's a really fun story where we get to see, or I don't know if fun's the word, but it is an interesting story where we get to see our main character's relationship with her sister in the forefront as, again, we kind of explore more of the horror side of that. Moving on to number 9, which is Danger Squad, a spooky mystery adventure book. This just feels like a Saturday morning cartoon, characters you wouldn't expect coming together to form something as simple as this Danger Squad. If you miss that style of storytelling, this is one to pick up. Moving on to number 8, which is the Let Us In Anthology for non-US creators. It's exactly what the title says. I think anthologies like this are very important, and I love an anthology that kind of has a different angle to it. So, you know, we've seen plenty of anthologies that are just like, hey, here's a superhero anthology, or here's a horror anthology. To have something that's very specific, I think are the most successful anthologies, and again, for a cause and an idea that's really important in comics. Moving on to number 7, which is Dream Match Revolution issue 1. You know, this is a wrestling comic. I'm not a huge wrestling fan, but I feel like through comics I've gotten to learn more about wrestling, either through Kickstarter or stuff like Do a Powerbomb. This one has to do with a character who wants to become a wrestler and fight her favorite wrestler. So it's kind of a fun slice of life sports series that I kind of want to just learn more about that world, and this Kickstarter promises to sink your teeth into that world. So that is number 7 for me. Moving on to number 6, which is Trick or Treat Witching Hours. So this is based on a movie that also has a lot of comic inspiration, that has also already had comic books, so the blending of this world, all in the perfect timing of Halloween. It's already funded and made plenty of money. The thumbnail's very good. I'm just excited to see where this one takes, and Kickstarters like these are important to bring new eyes to the platform, just horror fans, maybe getting into comic books, getting into Kickstarter in general. These are definitely important projects to grow the platform. Moving on to number 5, which is Arcane Syndicate. Again, speaking of the Halloween time, it's your favorite Halloween characters, public domains like Dracula and Frankenstein, part of this government kind of Suicide Squad team, and they team up together with some really great artwork. I really like the thumbnail for this project. And curious to see where it's going to end up taking us. Moving on to another kind of more horror title, because of course we're going to have more more of those horror titles for October, and that is The Raven Code. So this is Edgar Allan Poe. If all those stories were true, unfold in this story. So I like the angle, because obviously we've seen public domains on Kickstarter before. We've seen Edgar Allan Poe in general on Kickstarter a lot, so I felt like this was a kind of unique angle to tell his stories in a new way. Moving on to number 3, which is Demon City, Volume 1. Death Has Been Murdered. There's this character who's a detective who has to team up with a demon. Also a great way to collect this book, because it's trade and it's a Volume 1, so it's more than just the 22-pager, so you could kind of sink your teeth into what the series is, and I think it has really wonderful premise and really solid artwork as well. Moving on to number 2, which is Pots and Panels, the comic book anthology about cooking and food. You know, if you guys don't know, one of my favorite pastimes is cooking and food. It's something I like to do outside of comics, so to see that blended into a comic with a lot of heavy hitters, like Tim Seeley's on this one, is a really cool combination of up-and-comer writers and creators and veterans, and I think that's where anthologies do its best, with, again, a really fun concept. So that is number 2 for me. Moving on to number 1, which is a queer comic book, and that is Robust Heat. This is issues 1 through 6. Something I really liked about this page is that it shows us a lot from the comic book. I thought the artwork was really unique, and I think fit queer storytelling here and the romance here. And I like just how thought through it was. There's an image that kind of tells you all the characters in the world and the different things they're exploring, like polyamory, demisexuality, anxiety, and it really kind of sinks your teeth into what this world is going to be. And I just thought the page really explained what the book was gonna, what's being delivered here, which sometimes Kickstarters, I think, forgets. They're just like, hey, everyone kind of knows my comic already, and one of the biggest hurdles you got to go through is that not everyone knows your comic. You do have to explain what it's about and really sell people on it, and this Kickstarter did that, which is why it's my number 1 pick. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. This is Comic Uno. Of course, next month I'll have another top 10 video for Kickstarters, and hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite Kickstarters were, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.